Hello and welcome back to Leo English Podcast. I'm Leo.
And I'm Tina. We are so thrilled to be here with you today.
Our mission is to help you speak English naturally, fluently, and confidently in real situations. We want you to feel ready, calm, and powerful in any English conversation.
And today's lesson is one that is close to both of our hearts. We are going to teach you 150 essential English phrases for talking about self-belief, what it means, why it matters, and how to express it clearly and impressively in English.
This is a topic that comes up everywhere, in IELTS speaking, in job interviews, in everyday conversations with friends, and even in the conversations you have with yourself.
Yes, self-belief is not just a motivational idea. It's a real, discussable topic in English learning. And if you can talk about it fluently, it shows the examiner, or anyone you're speaking to, that you have emotional intelligence, vocabulary range, and depth of thinking.
So whether you are preparing for IELTS, practicing conversational English, or simply someone who wants to speak about yourself and your inner world more confidently, this lesson is absolutely for you.
That really is a huge audience. I think almost everyone can benefit from this one.
Agreed. So if you're ready to start believing in your English and believing in yourself, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a new lesson. Let's go!
So Leo, how are you today? You look like you're in a good mood.
I genuinely am. You know, something small happened this morning that kind of set the tone for the whole day. I was about to cancel a presentation I had to give. I almost texted my colleague and said I wasn't feeling ready. And then I stopped and asked myself, why don't I believe I can do this?
Oh, that's such a powerful moment. What did you decide?
I went and did the presentation, and it went well. Not perfectly, but well. And I thought about how many times I talked myself out of things before I even try.
That is literally the definition of a self-belief problem. Not a skills problem, a belief problem.
Exactly. My skills were fine. My belief was the obstacle.
I had a similar moment recently, actually. I've been thinking about starting to write a book about language learning. And every time I sit down to start, this little voice says, "Who are you to write a book? There are already so many books."
That voice has a name, by the way. It's called the inner critic, and almost every successful person talks about fighting it.
Really? Even very successful people?
Especially successful people. There's even a term for it, imposter syndrome. The feeling that you're not qualified or good enough, even when the evidence says you are.
Imposter syndrome. We're going to come back to that phrase in today's vocabulary section for sure.
Yes, we definitely are. And speaking of today's lesson, let's get into it. Today we're teaching you how to talk about self-belief in English, and specifically how to use this topic brilliantly in IELTS speaking.
Let's do it.
All right, Tina, let's start with the foundation. IELTS Part 1 is the warm-up section where the examiner asks you short personal questions. What kinds of self-belief questions might come up in Part 1?
The examiner might ask things like, do you consider yourself a confident person? Or, have you ever had to push yourself to do something difficult? Or, how do you stay motivated when things get hard?
Great examples. These are direct, personal questions. You answer with your own experience. And for Part 1, how long should the answer be?
2 to 4 sentences. Specific and personal. Each sentence should add real information. Don't just repeat the same idea in different words.
So if someone asks, do you consider yourself a confident person? What's a strong answer?
A strong answer might sound like this. I think I've grown to become fairly confident over time, although it hasn't always been that way. I used to doubt myself quite a lot, especially when speaking in public. But I've worked hard on building my self-belief by taking on challenges that scared me, and I've seen a real difference. I now feel more capable of handling difficult situations.
That's excellent. It's honest, it shows growth, and it uses really sophisticated vocabulary. Let's highlight some key phrases in that answer.
Yes, grown to become, doubt myself, building my self-belief, taking on challenges that scared me, and feel more capable. Every one of those is a natural, high-level phrase.
I want to focus on doubt myself for a moment. What does it mean?
To doubt yourself means to feel unsure about your own abilities or worth. I doubted myself before every exam, or She stopped doubting herself once she got the promotion. The noun form is self-doubt. Overcoming self-doubt is a lifelong journey.
And the opposite? What phrases mean the opposite of self-doubt?
Great question. You can say self-assurance, self-confidence, self-belief, or inner conviction. All of these describe a strong sense of trust in yourself. She spoke with such self-assurance, or his inner conviction carried him through the hardest moments.
Leo, now let's look at phrases for describing yourself as a person who does or doesn't have self-belief. In IELTS, self-description is a key skill.
For describing high self-belief, you can say, I have a strong belief in my own abilities. I trust myself to handle difficult situations. I've developed a resilient mindset over the years. I'm the kind of person who backs themselves even when others don't. Or, I've learned to silence my inner critic.
Leo, and for describing a journey going from low to high self-belief?
This is where the storytelling gets beautiful. You can say, I wasn't always this confident. There was a time when I struggled with self-doubt. Over time, I've come to believe in my potential. I've gone from being my own worst enemy to being my own biggest supporter. Or, the turning point for me was when
My own worst enemy to my own biggest supporter. That's a stunning contrast. The examiner will remember that.
It's the kind of language that shows fluency and personality at the same time. You're not just describing facts, you're telling a human story.
Can you model a full Part 1 answer using some of these phrases together?
Absolutely. I think my relationship with self-belief has evolved a lot over the years. When I was younger, I was quite insecure and I relied heavily on the approval of others to feel capable. But as I've faced more challenges and seen myself come through difficult situations, I've gradually built a stronger sense of inner confidence. Now, I try to approach new experiences with the attitude that I can figure things out, even if I don't know everything at the start.
That is a band 7 or 8 answer easily. Let's pull out the most powerful phrases. Evolved a lot. Relied heavily on the approval of others. Come through difficult situations. Built a stronger sense of inner confidence. And figure things out.
The phrase, come through difficult situations, is especially worth noting. It means to survive and succeed despite challenges. She came through a very difficult period and emerged stronger. It implies both struggle and victory.
Okay, let's move into IELTS Part 2. The examiner gives you a cue card and you speak for 2 minutes. A self-belief topic might look like this. Describe a time when you believed in yourself and succeeded. You should say what the situation was, what doubts or fears you had, what made you push forward, and what the outcome was.
This is a wonderful topic because it combines storytelling with self-reflection. Let me model a full Part 2 answer.
Please do.
The experience I'd like to talk about is the first time I gave a presentation in English to a large audience. This was about 3 years ago when I was still fairly new to public speaking in a second language. To be completely honest, I was terrified. I had convinced myself that I wasn't good enough, that my accent would distract people, that I would forget my words, and that everyone would see straight through me.
That's a powerful opening. Very personal and honest.
But a colleague of mine said something that changed everything. She told me, "You know this topic better than anyone in that room. Trust that." And for the first time, I chose to believe her instead of my own fears. I prepared thoroughly. I rehearsed dozens of times, and I walked into that room telling myself, I am ready. I belong here.
I am ready. I belong here. Those simple sentences are incredibly emotionally resonant.
The presentation went beautifully. And what I took away from that experience was not just confidence in public speaking, it was something deeper. I learned that self-belief is not a feeling you wait for, it's a decision you make. And that lesson has shaped every challenge I've taken on since.
That's extraordinary. What key phrases should our viewers note from that answer?
Convinced myself that I wasn't good enough. Trust that. Chose to believe. I belong here. Self-belief is a decision you make, and shaped every challenge I've taken on since. These are the phrases that take an answer from good to unforgettable.
I love self-belief is a decision you make. It's almost a philosophical statement. In IELTS, when you say something that sounds like a personal philosophy, it shows the examiner that you are a thinker.
Exactly. And thinkers get high scores.
Now let's talk about the obstacles. In IELTS Part 2 and Part 3, you may be asked about things that challenge or undermine self-belief. What are common phrases for talking about those barriers?
There are several important ones. You can say, one of the biggest threats to self-belief is comparison. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, we inevitably come up short. Or, negative feedback, when received poorly, can be devastating to one's confidence. Or, a culture that punishes failure rather than embracing it as part of learning can severely damage people's self-belief.
Come up short. I hear this phrase a lot. What does it mean?
To come up short means to fall below the expected or desired standard. He worked hard but came up short of his target. Or, in the context of comparison, when I compared my progress to my peers, I always felt like I came up short. It's a very natural, idiom-level phrase.
And how do we talk about recovering from those challenges? Because an IELTS answer can't just end on a negative.
Right. Resilience language is essential. You can say, despite setbacks, I've managed to rebuild my confidence. I've learned that failure is feedback, not a verdict. I've had to consciously reframe the way I talk to myself. Over time, I've replaced self-criticism with self-compassion. Or, I found that surrounding myself with supportive people has been transformative.
Reframe. That's a word I want to explore. What does it mean in this context?
To reframe means to look at a situation from a different, usually more helpful perspective. I've learned to reframe failure as an opportunity for growth, or she reframed the rejection as redirection. It's a psychological term that is also completely natural in spoken English, and it sounds very intelligent.
Reframe failure as redirection. I might put that on a poster.
Haha, please do.
Let's go to Part 3. These questions zoom out from personal experience to society and culture. The examiner might ask, why do you think some people struggle with low self-belief? Or, do you think modern society helps or hurts people's confidence? Or, how important is self-belief in achieving success?
These are big, abstract questions. Let me model an answer for how important is self-belief in achieving success.
Go ahead.
I would argue that self-belief is arguably the single most critical ingredient in any form of success, more important in many ways than raw talent or even opportunity. History is full of people who had every external advantage but lacked the internal conviction to act, and therefore never reached their potential. Conversely, there are countless examples of individuals who came from difficult backgrounds with limited resources, yet achieved remarkable things purely through an unshakable belief in what they were capable of.
Unshakable belief. That phrase is powerful. What does unshakable mean?
Unshakable means impossible to weaken, disturb, or undermine. Her unshakable faith in herself carried her through every obstacle. Or, he approached every challenge with unshakable determination. The word suggests a belief so deep that nothing can break it.
And the answer continued?
That said, I think it's important to distinguish between healthy self-belief and blind arrogance. True self-belief is grounded in self-awareness, knowing your strengths, acknowledging your gaps, and trusting that you can grow. It's not about thinking you're better than everyone else. It's about trusting that you are enough to try.
You are enough to try. That's beautiful. And it brings nuance to the answer. You're not just saying self-belief is good. You're defining what good self-belief actually looks like.
That nuance is exactly what Part 3 is looking for. Anyone can say self-belief is important. Not everyone can explain what it means, what it isn't, and why that distinction matters.
What discourse markers does our audience need for Part 3 answers like this?
Essential ones. I would argue that. Arguably. Conversely. That said, it's worth noting that. What's more, on the surface, it might seem that, however, fundamentally, in essence. These help you navigate complex ideas and signal to the examiner that you are in full control of your argument. Okay, Leo, as always, let's go through the most powerful vocabulary from today's lesson one by one so our viewers can really absorb and use them.
I have my list ready. There are so many incredible words in this topic.
Let's go through them together.
1. Self-belief. Our central word today. Self-belief means a strong confidence in your own abilities, judgment, and worth. It's the foundational conviction that you are capable and deserving of success.
It's different from arrogance. Arrogance says, I'm better than others. Self-belief says, I trust in myself. One is comparative, the other is internal. She had the self-belief to pursue her dream despite everyone's doubts.
The inner critic is the internal voice that doubts, judges, and undermines you. It says things like, you're not ready, you're not good enough, who do you think you are?
Almost everyone has one. Silencing my inner critic has been one of the most important parts of my personal growth. Or, she learned to recognize when her inner critic was speaking and chose not to listen. The phrase is widely used in psychology and personal development. Imposter syndrome is the persistent feeling that you are a fraud, that you don't truly deserve your success or position, and that at any moment, people will find you out.
It's extremely common, even among highly successful people. Many high-achieving professionals admit to experiencing imposter syndrome. Despite years of success, she still battled imposter syndrome before every major presentation. Using this term in IELTS shows that you know current psychological vocabulary. Conviction means a firmly held belief or opinion, a deep, unshakable certainty. In the context of self-belief, it means knowing something to be true about yourself with complete confidence.
He spoke with such conviction that the entire room believed him. Or, my conviction that I could succeed kept me going when nothing else did. It's more intense than belief. It implies emotional certainty that goes all the way down. A resilient mindset is a way of thinking that allows you to recover from setbacks, adapt to challenges, and keep going despite failure or criticism.
It's a combination of two powerful words: resilient, which means able to recover from difficulty, and mindset, which means a habitual pattern of thinking. Developing a resilient mindset was the most transformative thing I've ever done. Or, a resilient mindset doesn't prevent failure. It changes how you respond to it. To reframe means to look at a situation, experience, or belief from a new and different perspective, usually to find a more helpful, empowering interpretation.
She reframed her job loss as an opportunity to pursue her real passion. Or, I've learned to reframe criticism as useful information rather than personal attack.
It's a word that signals psychological sophistication and growth. Examiners respond very well to it.
Unshakable means impossible to weaken, destroy, or undermine. It suggests complete, total, bedrock certainty.
His unshakable confidence inspired everyone around him. Or, she carried an unshakable belief in her purpose, even when the path was unclear. It's a beautiful adjective, very evocative and strong, and it pairs perfectly with words like belief, confidence, faith, and commitment. To come up short means to fail to meet a goal, standard, or expectation. It has a sense of effort. You tried but didn't quite reach the mark.
I've come up short before, but I've never stopped trying. Or, he came up short in his first attempt, but used the experience to prepare better. It's honest language. It acknowledges imperfection without giving up. Very human and very natural. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and patience you would offer a good friend when you fail or make a mistake.
It's the antidote to harsh self-criticism. Learning self-compassion changed how I bounced back from failure. Or, true self-belief isn't about never doubting yourself. It's about practicing self-compassion when you do. This word connects self-belief to emotional intelligence, which is a very sophisticated link in any IELTS answer. To affirm means to state something positively and with confidence. An affirmation is a positive statement you repeat to build your belief in something, often about yourself.
I start each morning with a simple affirmation. Today I am capable and ready. Or, Affirmations may sound simple, but research suggests that the language we use about ourselves genuinely shapes our self-perception. This is a great word for Part 3 discussions about psychology and behavior. Potential is the capacity to develop, grow, or become something greater in the future. When we talk about believing in someone's potential, we mean trusting what they can become, not just what they are now.
I'm beginning to see my own potential more clearly. Or, self-belief is, in many ways, simply the ability to see your own potential before others can confirm it. Beautiful. Potential is one of those words that carries enormous hope. Using it shows optimism and forward thinking. In the context of self-belief, to belong means to feel that you are rightfully in a place, role, or situation, that you have earned and deserve your position.
I belong here. 3 words. Incredibly powerful. She walked into the room with the certainty that she belonged there. Or, one of the most liberating feelings in life is the moment you stop asking for permission and simply decide that you belong. The verb belong goes far beyond describing a location. In this context, it describes an entire internal shift. Okay, Tina, that was a truly remarkable lesson. Let's bring everything together so our viewers have a clear framework to use.
I love the recap. It makes everything click into place.
First, we covered Part 1, self-belief questions. Use phrases like, I've grown to become. I used to doubt myself. I've built a stronger sense of inner confidence. And, I'm the kind of person who backs themselves. Keep your answers personal, honest, and specific. 2 to 4 sentences with real detail.
Then we went deep into Part 2, storytelling. Use the 4-part structure. Introduce the situation, describe your doubts or fears, explain what pushed you forward, and reflect on the outcome and lesson. Use powerful phrases like, I belong here, self-belief is a decision, reframe, and came through.
After that, we covered challenges to self-belief, the inner critic, imposter syndrome, comparison, and fear of failure. Always pair the challenge with a recovery, reframe, self-compassion, resilient mindset.
Then we did Part 3, the big picture questions. Use discourse markers like, conversely, that said, I would argue, and fundamentally. Connect personal experience to societal patterns. Show nuance by explaining the difference between healthy self-belief and blind arrogance.
And our final piece of advice, speak about self-belief as if you have it, even if you're still building it. In IELTS, your language creates an impression. When you use confident, mature vocabulary about your inner world, you project intelligence and credibility.
And here's a secret. Speaking confidently about self-belief actually builds self-belief. Language shapes thought. Practice these phrases and watch what happens to how you see yourself.
Now, our favorite part of every episode, we want to hear from you.
Today's question is, tell us about a moment when you had to believe in yourself even when it was hard. What happened? How did you push through? And try to use at least one vocabulary word from today's lesson in your answer.
I'll go first. My moment of self-belief was this morning, actually. I nearly backed out of a presentation, but I reframed my fear as energy, told myself I belonged in that room, and I went through with it. I came up short of perfection, but I came through, and that's what matters.
Mine is this channel. When Leo and I first started, I genuinely struggled with imposter syndrome. Who were we to teach English to the world? But I chose to act from potential rather than proof. And here we are. I am so glad I believed before I had evidence to justify the belief.
From potential rather than proof. That might be the best line of the whole episode.
Write your story in the comments. Use the structure. There was a time when I doubted myself because, but I chose to believe because, and the outcome was, this taught me that self-belief.
We read every single comment, and we will be cheering for every one of you.
Thank you so deeply for spending this time with us today. You showed up for this lesson, which already says something about who you are.
If today's lesson was valuable to you, please give it a thumbs up right now. It genuinely helps our channel reach more people who need this content. And if you haven't subscribed yet, Click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss a lesson.
We upload regularly with practical, real English content that prepares you for exams, conversations, and life.
Remember, every phrase you practice today is a small deposit into your confidence. Do it every day. The compound interest is extraordinary.
Believe in your English, believe in your potential, and above all, believe in yourself. Leo, we'll see you in the next lesson. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in this beautiful world. Goodbye!